When Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced an end to the 3 days of new movement approach of the government to curb the pandemic on September 18, after 12 no-movement days over the span of 24 days, Jamaica breathed a sigh of relief. However, the retention of Sundays as a no-movement day has raised concerns among a group of Christians who worship on Sundays. To explore their concerns, we are joined by Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey, the senior pastor of the Portmore Holiness Christian Church. And we're also joined by Bishop Rowan Edwards, the general overseer of the Lighthouse Assembly. Bishops, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening to you, sir.
All right, let's start with you, Dr. Bailey. You have a particular concern about people who worship on a Sunday? What is your concern?
No particular concern. I'm one of those who worship as a Christian. I join with those who worship on a Saturday also. We are Christians, and worship is an integral part of our spiritual expression. So yes, we worship on Sunday. Our brothers and sisters worship on a Saturday. Worship is our primary concern.
But there is some issue about the people who do it on a Sunday. That's the point I was getting to. What's the issue?
Well, the issue is that Sunday was declared a lockdown day, that no movement should take place on a Sunday, and so we had to seek very special permission. And it gives the impression that due consideration was not given to those of us who worship on a Sunday.
Seek special permission. I understand that there is a form that you're able to fill out, because whether you worship on a Sunday or a Saturday, it's only 20 people you can have in the temple, or for want of a better word, in the church. So the form is there for you to fill out as the pastor, saying that these 20 people will come. You don't have to go to the government every time, do you?
No. Once that was in place, there was no need for that. It was not in place initially, and eventually we spoke with the government and they decided to implement the forms. So
what do you want them to do now?
Well, now as it is, we implement the forms, but initially the form was not a consideration. It was just a declaration of a lockdown day.
Bishop Edwards, what is your concern with Sunday no movement? Oh, Bishop Edwards, it seems you're on mute. We're not hearing you at all.
Well, I'm sorry.
We're hearing you now. No problem.
Yes, I don't want to be adversarial here, because I don't see the Prime Minister of this country as our adversary as the church. But I'm just concerned that the Prime Minister is ill-advised. I would, appreciate if persons who are working with the Prime Minister on his advisory team would take the time to consult with the church. If you're going to make a decision like that, to open the country for 6 days, and then one day when 80% or 70% of the people in this country goes to church, it's a very serious decision like that. And so I would really, admire the Prime Minister more if he would take consideration seriously when he's going to make announcements that has to do with the church. Now, we know what happened. All of us here knew what happened in 1980, when the then Prime Minister, Mr. Michael Manley, went on his own with his party and introduced the communist system to Jamaica. It was the first time that the PNP has ever lost an election. JLP won landslide. Prime Minister Michael Manley never seated at the House of Parliament until, as a Prime Minister, until 9 years later.
All right.
So we want to tell the Prime Minister of this country, please, sir, we love you, but you have to take consideration when you're making decisions that has to do with the church.
All right, Bishop Edwards and Bishop Bailey.
Platform in this country, and our platform.
I hate to cut you, bishops, but we have to take a quick break now. You're watching the panel discussion. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We are still looking at Sunday worship and the pandemic. Still with us, Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey, Senior Pastor of the Portmore Holiness Christian Church, and Bishop Rowan Edwards, General Overseer of the Lighthouse Assembly. I'd like you to pick up on where we left off before the break, please, Bishop.
Yes, sir. So, as I'm saying, that whoever is advising the Prime Minister as it relates to religious matters, they seems to be following up badly. Mr. Prime Minister, if you're going to have a discussion as it relates to a worship day, when you close the country for 6 days, open the country for 6 days and close it for the one day when the church goes out in large numbers to worship, you're putting yourself in serious trouble, sir. As I said, I'm not an adversarial person. I mean, I can be adversarial, but I'm not, because I know that the Prime Minister is not an adversary to the church. We've had many meetings with him. We have seen where he tries to work with us, but he blundered badly.
Thank you. Bishop, gentlemen,
that will,
if I may, a question.
Positively where the church is concerned.
A question. As of 2021, actually 2020, those who identify as religious in Jamaica are now as not religious. It stands at 22% of the population. The population, as a general rule, as in most other countries, when it comes to religion, is falling steadily so. 60% actually consider themselves actually to be Christian or religious at all. Would you say that moving forward, that the reality is that Sunday as a sacrosanct day does not hold on a cultural level as it did at one point? I'll start with you.
Are you asking me the question?
Yes, I am. I am. To Bishop Bailey first, and then I'd like you to join in, please.
It doesn't come as a surprise to us that there is a falling off. Broad is the gate that leads to destruction, and narrow the life eternal. The fact is, significant in the life of Jamaica are Christians and Christianity. As Parliament is to government and parliamentarians, church and worship is to Christianity and Christians. And because there is still a significant expression of Christian expression, faith-based expression in the country, we expect that when any national decision or emphases are being considered, an integral part of that is the church or the faith-based group in Jamaica. As simple as that. And any decision that neglects, overlook, due consideration to some of the major expressions of these faith-based groups is going to have the kind of impact that we're having now, one that seems is confrontational. So we are saying that, and I don't want us to start now, because I do not think that exemption of the Saturday as a lockdown day was with consideration of the Seventh-day Adventists or persons who worship on a Saturday. It was maybe an economic decision that led to that, and they benefit from that, a result of that, because it's not a lockdown day. But I don't believe that any special consideration was given to them. Similarly, and no consideration was given to the fact that there were persons who worship on a Sunday. If not, the option to that is to say scant regard was shown. But I do think that it can't be, no leadership of this country can overlook the importance and significance of Christianity and Christians in Jamaica, spanning the whole gamut of Jamaican life, people expression, business, culture, is the church in Jamaica, and the government or whoever formed the government must give due consideration to that.
With all due respect, you have been given a rather broad latitude when it comes to vaccination due to your religious points of view. So would you not say that you've already been given a good amount of latitude and leeway by the government when it comes to this entire situation?
It comes on to vaccine. I know you're talking about latitude, it comes on to vaccine. The government, as is their responsibility, is advancing the importance of vaccination. The church also have come to this. We have met and we have considered the importance of vaccination, and all the major denominations, our Christian group, our faith group in this country are also promoting vaccine. We do not form a part of the government briefing sessions when the Prime Minister has it. As a matter of fact, I personally took issue with that because we believe you're a major stakeholder in the advancement and promotion of vaccination in Jamaica, and should at least, that should be mentioned in his briefing, but we don't. But as a single-handedly, the church is advancing the importance of vaccination and telling its people to go and vaccinate. We are not giving any preferential treatment or any due consideration so far as it relates to the importance that we play in advancing the cause of vaccination in Jamaica.
Bishop Edwards?
You must also realize that the church we had no problem with this situation with the pandemic because we've never cried out, you know, ever since 2 times. This is the 2nd time. The first time the church spoke against some of the decisions that has been taken by Parliament is when they say we have to go to the police to go to church. That was the first time. We have not cried out. We've been cooperating with the government. We've been cooperating with the people, the churches across this island. We've been working hard to ensure that we work with the people of our country. It's a pandemic. But when you're going to cross the line, sir, when you have the 3 days lockdown, we didn't cry. We said nothing. Always saying no. The fact that we have not have any complaints about anybody saying that the COVID cases are being found in the church. The only time that happened is when it started. 2 little churches. From that,
gentlemen, if I may, gentlemen.
Practicing the protocol. We have been practicing the protocol. We did everything that is possible to make sure that COVID stays out of our churches. So we don't understand why on a Sunday, when the churches are going out to worship, that this has to come into play now.
Bishop Edwards, it seems to me that, I don't know if I'm getting it clear, but you keep talking about the many people who go out to church on a Sunday, what, the 80%? But we don't, as I understand it, they don't need anywhere near 80%. They only need 20 from each church every Sunday. So they don't want a lot of people out there. Is it that we shouldn't have a no movement day at all?
We're not saying that we want 80% of the church to be out on the street on a Sunday. We didn't ask for that. We're not saying we want 50% either. But we're saying to the government, if you're saying nobody should move except 20, no. If you go to all of them big supermarkets, is only 20 people in there, sir?
No.
Huh? But when you go to the big wholesales across this country, when you go to the tax office, when you go to all those various places across this country, 20 people are in there.
So you have an issue with the number. You don't want the number to be 20.
You need to look again to see what's taking place. So you have to give consideration to the people who want. Listen, this pandemic is creating a lot of problems, you know, so people are losing their minds.
Yes.
And it's the church that people goes and sometimes how to ease the tension.
Or sometimes to the club.
To go out and worship God.
Or sometimes to the dance. I mean, I can't go to the dance to ease my mind. Why should people be able to go to church?
Let me respond to that. We are aware that there has to be some primary consideration because of the severity of the COVID condition. These parameters are established. Mask, social distancing, sanitization. So far, the compliance level of the church is up to scratch. The government eased the rules to facilitate a group that are prone to breaking rules and laws, and we felt the effect of that. We are saying, not that there should be some kind of stipulation or specifications or restriction, but what were the indicators or parameters that were used to come up with, for example, a 20 or a 10 or whatever? What was used to determine no movement at all, church must move? Was there any consideration? Was there consideration to the fact that this is a group of people that have a high compliance level, and so the possibility of realizing the fear of spread is not there? And there are some consideration, you know, so I'm saying that there is going to be some limitation of numbers because of some consideration. But what are they? Were they taken in consideration? Was there a discussion with us to consider what are some of the restrictions or whether or not we are maintaining them? There was absolutely nothing that seemed to be rational that determined that there should have been a lockdown. And I'm saying, and I wanted to divest your mind and anybody else that we are insensitive to decisions that have to be taken. You know, some groups are, but we are not. We are saying that we are all in this thing together, but then irrational, irresponsible decision and seemingly baseless decision is one that really undermines the importance of the church and worship to the church both Saturdays and Sundays.
Gentlemen, on the issue, just to swing back to what my colleague was just saying, there are a lot of institutions that still aren't open. Entertainment still really is rather locked down. You do have the ability to have up to 20 individuals in your establishments. So you'll forgive me if I'm missing the point as to what you're complaining about, because you do have the ability to have service. you do have individuals coming. So in the context of finding a balance, why the complaint? I'd like to go with Bishop Edwards, please.
Yeah, but listen, sir. I spoke to a pastor in the rural area, and I won't mention the organization that he's from. 15 churches that he oversees. He said that he cannot even have a Zoom meeting. You talk about churches that are out in the rural areas. You talk about, only 20 people who are allowed to go. Sir, a lot of people cannot go on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube, and the 20 who are allowed to go, sometimes don't make sense. A lot of pastors don't even want to open their church because of the fact that it's only 20 people. You have a staff to operate your system. Your staff alone is 18 people. What does it make sense? You have to consider, sir, that this country is, well, you came up with the statistics a while ago. I don't even know who came up with that statistic, But as far as I know, loads of people are connected to God, and they want to be at a place where they can worship their God, and they're asking for this day. Remember what I said? We didn't have a problem when you have 3 days lockdown. We didn't have a problem. We work with the system. But when you're locked down just one day,
you feel singled out.
No concern.
Gentlemen, would you be all right with a vaccine mandate for the church where so long as you're vaccinated, you can have as many people in service so long as they're vaccinated? Is that something that you think?
That's the problem. That's a major problem because you cannot mandate. You can't. Hold on, Alvin.
No, as an individual church. Not from a government point of view, but if you, as an individual church, would you be willing to say, my church?
You're going up against people's free will. Okay, you have to be very careful about that. Okay.
So that's a no.
God himself give people free will. It's up to you. So therefore, when you're going to go that way of mandating a church or mandating a country, that's when you're going to have a lot of a problem in this country. So please, sir, don't even want to go about talking about mandating Christian, and you cannot go to church unless you take the vaccine. No, listen. I told the people that I'm pastor, it's up to you.
Gentlemen, I only have 30. We only have 30 seconds left. I want to get an idea.
There's no question about it. Ron Edwards took the vaccine. I took the vaccine because I saw the dangers coming for people around me. I saw people dying. A lot of stuff are happening. Okay?
Yes, Bishop.
At the same time,
I understand that. But I just want to give something to Dr. Bailey quickly. Dr. Bailey, we hear people complaining that they might have to fold in businesses and so on. Are you looking at the same challenges in the church? I mean, are you so financially distressed?
No, well, my experience and the experience of many of us is that we're not financially distressed. We have indeed suffered some amount of financial fallout, but people who are loyal to the cause and who have experienced the transformation of their lives and know the importance of their gifts, talents, and service to the people of their community and the country, still are loyal to the institution and to make an institution run. That is not our greatest fear, absolutely not.
Yes.
I'm talking about people who cannot serve the people in the community.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Dr. Bailey. I'm afraid we're completely out of time. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Bailey. Bishop Edwards, thanks so much for joining us. When we come back, we'll have lifestyle and entertainment.